Good evening, good evening, good evening. I'm s Forgive me for being late on top of already being late. How are y'all doing this evening? Nope, I miss this as well. I miss this as well. I thoroughly enjoy the conversation. This is a high note. I was because I set it for 7:30 and I got on here at about 7:34. My dance teacher used to always say, if you're on time, you're late. If you're 15 minutes early, you're on time. So I think I said that backwards, but I don't know what I mean. If you're 15 minutes early, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late. So she used to lock them doors right at 4. If you're on the outside, you're on the outside. What's up? What's up? It is very, very wonderful to see y'all. So yeah, what's been going on out there? I made this, I was putting together this video, but I felt like it wasn't deep enough for y'all. So I held back on it. But I'm going to talk about it tonight because I feel like they're trying to hide as if it's out there. Have y'all heard that Trump signed an executive order giving him the authority to suspend habeas corpus for illegals, I guess, is what they're claiming is the target. And I say that in quotes, what they say is the target. And for the sake of knowledge, I have to read this. I have to read it. And let me see if I can, and y'all will have to let me know if I go out. But this is actually on the Federal Register. So it's not just them talking about it. Yes. Let me skip to this question because this is a very good question. What is habeas corpus? What is habeas corpus? And I'm going to give you their definition so that so habeas corpus is a legal remedy. It's if you feel like you're detained illegally, pretty much without any grounds, then you can bring a writ to the court and pretty much and challenge it. But it's what gives you permission to do that, because otherwise, of course, as y'all know, we don't technically have any rights unless they give it to us. So this gives us the right to not be unlawfully detained, because they can do it for life. They can detain you indefinitely without that clause. You said, is it a get out of jail free card? No, it's not a get out of jail free card, because sometimes there are rules to detainment. Cops can't just hold you there without any probable cause for them stopping you. They have to suspect that you're in the commission of a crime, that you just came from committing a crime, or that you're about to commit a crime. They have to have all that together before they can just go and hold you there. And if I'm not mistaken, it's 20 minutes. And so sometimes the police will try to call in the dogs because that extends the time for them. So they'll try to act like, oh, I smell, marijuana. I got to get the dogs. So let me read this. And it's literally, as you can see, it's literally called Strengthening and Unleashing America's Law Enforcement to Pursue Criminals and Protect Innocent Citizens. Now, I don't know how you feel about that. Seems like it's narrowing in on a select group. To me, it just feel like you're talking to everybody. Because as y'all know, there's people sitting in jail had no business sitting in jail, and they do it for long periods of time too. And yeah, sometimes they get a good payment, but you got to ask that person if it's worth it. It might be my voice because I am a little groggy right now, but let me see. Okay, well, maybe let me remove it because you know how it acts up when I do that. Is that better? Okay, well, I'll read it off my phone then. That's fine. So, strengthening and unleashing America's law enforcement to pursue criminals and protect innocent citizens. Can y'all hear me? Okay. I don't see anything that says that you can't. Okay, so I'm gonna read. By the authority vested in me as president by the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America, it is hereby ordered. This is safe communities rely on the backbone and heroism of a tough and well-equipped police force. My administration is steadfastly committed to empowering state and local law enforcement to firmly police dangerous criminal behavior and protect innocent citizens. When local leaders demonize law enforcement and impose legal and political handcuffs that make aggressively enforcing the law impossible, crime thrives and innocent citizens and small business owners suffer. My administration will therefore establish best practices at the state and local level for the cities to unleash high-impact local police forces, protect and defend law enforcement officers wrongly accused and abused by state or local officials, and surge resources to officers in need. My administration will work to ensure the law enforcement officers across America focus on ending crime, not pursuing harmful, illegal race and sex-based equity policies. Let me check with y'all. The result will be a law-abiding society in which tenacious law enforcement officers protect the innocent Violations of law are not tolerated in American communities, are safely enjoyed by all their citizens again. Section 2, legal defense of law enforcement officers. The Attorney General shall take all appropriate action to create a mechanism to provide legal resources and indemnification to law enforcement officers who unjustly incur expenses and liabilities for actions taken during the performance of their official duties to enforce the law. This mechanism shall include the use of private sector pro bono assistance for such law enforcement officers. Section 3, empowering state and local law enforcement. The Attorney General and other appropriate heads of executive departments and agencies shall take all appropriate action to maximize the use of federal resources to, 1, provide new best practices to state and local law enforcement to aggressively police communities against all crimes. 2, expand access and improve the quality of training available to state and local law enforcement. 3, increase pay and benefits for law enforcement officers. 4, protections for law enforcement officers. 5, seek enhanced sentences for crimes against law enforcement officers. 6, promote investment in the security and capacity of prisons. And 7, increase the investment in and collection, distribution, and uniformity of crime data across jurisdictions. Within this order, now mind you, they have 60 days. They have 60 days to have this enforced, if I'm not mistaken. So for them to 60 days from the date of that order, your time is already up. But I'm sorry, where I'm at. Shall review all ongoing federal consent decrees out of court agreements and post-judgment orders to which a state or local law enforcement agency is party, and modify, rescind, or move to conclude such measures that unduly impede the performance of law enforcement functions. Assets for law and order. Within 90 days, see, now we're at 90 days of the date of this order, the Attorney General and the Secretary of Defense, in consultation with the Secretary of Homeland Security and the heads of agencies as appropriate, shall increase the provision of excess military and national security assets in local jurisdictions to assist state and local law enforcement. Do y'all remember when they had all those videos that were showing tanks being just, I guess they had them on trains and they were just carrying them from place to place, different military type. Do y'all remember that? I don't know if y'all remember that. I'm not saying that that's what this is for. I'm just asking if y'all remember. Edison, you said you remember? Okay. I'm almost done, y'all. I'm almost done. I just want us to get the full, I just want us to get the full understanding of what's going on. I just want to. Within 90 days of the date of this order, the Secretary of Defense, in coordination with the Attorney General, shall determine how military and national security assets, training, Non-lethal capabilities and personnel can most effectively be utilized to prevent crime. Okay, hey, but non-lethal, I'm for that. But that's about it. Section 5, holding state and local officials accountable. The Attorney General shall pursue all necessary legal remedies and enforcement measures to enforce the rights of Americans impacted by crime, and shall prioritize prosecution of any applicable violations of federal criminal law with respect to state and local jurisdictions whose officials A, willfully and lawfully direct the obstruction of criminal law, including by directly and unlawfully prohibiting law enforcement officers from carrying out duties necessary for public safety and law enforcement. That sounds broad. Or unlawfully engage in discrimination or civil rights violations under the guise of diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives that restrict law enforcement activities or endanger citizens. What? Under the guise of diversity, equity. I guess I don't understand what that means. I don't understand the new lingo with that, with the whole movement. I'm sorry. Section 6 says that they're going to be utilizing task forces. In accordance with another. And then the last section says that nothing in this order shall be construed to imperil or otherwise affect the authority granted by law to an executive department or agency or the head thereof, or the functions of the director of the Office of Management and Budget relating to budgetary, administrative, or legislative proposals. Okay, the order shall be implemented consistent with applicable law and subject to the availability of appropriations. What? And this order is not intended to and does not create any right or benefit, substantive or procedural enforcement at law or in equity by any party against the United States, its departments, agencies, or entities, its officers, employees, or agents, or any other person. How do you feel about that? How do y'all feel about that? No, you say, yeah, I remember that. It was random military equipment being shipped around like around 2021, a bunch of clips randomly, yeah. And that's when they first started clearing out the Walmart. I don't know if y'all had, yeah, they first started clearing out Walmart's. I don't know. I've seen different military agencies pop up at the Walmarts that they took down, but their vans, it would just be blacked out, the windows, but they were only there for a period of time, and then they moved on. So I don't know if it was, a meeting place for a secret mission, and then they create it and then they break it up and go about their way, so that nobody suspects anything. I don't know. But now it's a VA hospital, so I don't know. A lot of people were saying Edelson says so. It's like 1984, George Orwell. I just feel like all that stuff doesn't get written for no reason. And there are people that can put things together and they sense it from miles away. But yeah, some people were saying that it might be an entry for martial law. Because they have to take down the military that was there and then install another. And so I looked at the news right now. He's kind of just toying with it. I might. So I think it's all to create tension. And to answer your question earlier, Edelson, because I'm wondering if it has anything to do with it. So you said fill me in on this black woman statue. It sounds like a joke. No, it's not. It's not even a joke. There is a guy who created a 12-foot statue of a black woman. Let me see if I can bring it up. In the middle of New York Square. I don't know if it's in the middle. Whatever, however it works. I hear that there's a lot of statues in Times Square. And a lot of people a lot of people have mixed reactions. So oh man, they're not going to show. I want them to show the statue without a blogger's face on it. Oh, okay. I see it. Okay, so if you haven't seen it, let me do this. Okay, so that's the 12-foot bronze, I believe, statue. First, how do y'all feel about that? I was just going to ask that. Well, how do y'all feel about that? What do you? What does this symbolize to you? Oh, you said it's a pretty unflattering depiction of any woman regardless of race. Hey, that's a pretty good point. And a lady said that as well. I heard her saying that she was like, you pretty much got the worst of me. You didn't get the me that's walking out to the grocery store, or me that's going somewhere nice. You got me walking around the house and put me in the middle of Times Square. So if she was a baddie, I wouldn't mind. I missed this one. um, okay, so pretty much the same sentiment. If it was a nice looking. Now, do you think that it, you said, is it a real person or is it modeled after someone? I don't think the artist, I don't remember him saying, but even this gay man said that he could relate. He said that she was fat and he was fat and black. She was fat and black and he was fat and black. So I don't know if it was exactly. I can, yeah. We got to be honest. Every woman would be offended if that depicted them as a whole. Anyone who says otherwise is lying. I agree. And that was another question. Do you think that people are laughing at this instead of, do you think more people are laughing at this rather than applauding? You said they say love is blind. And and listen, that's it, right? Because it's not to say that this is not getting loved. Yeah, absolutely. So, um, I missed this one. From what I heard, executive orders don't necessarily mean anything unless you get approved or something. I think, but hopefully they don't cause this. Can be used to strip away rights, like you said. Yes, and yeah, I think that's why the news is all a buzz about him just toying with bringing it. Trying to get it, trying to get it passed. Um, yeah, I don't know what's going on. But what's gonna keep them from extending it to everybody? Yeah, they're saying criminals, and it just, they set the rules. What am I trying to say? They set the rules. So it could be a crime. Anything could be a crime at any minute. Whatever they decide. And they can just suspend it. He over here talking about 90 days. What? You can do a lot. You can do a lot of wrong. You can do a lot of bad in 90 days. They can violate they can violate a lot of rights, even though they'll say, they're not doing it and there's no indemnity for them. If they do, they're still kind of gives them leeway to do whatever they want. Also, very hot take, but gay men enable toxic, dysfunctional Black women behavior and size mostly because gay men themselves pretend to be a Black woman as part of their sexual expression. And I don't know if the guy, again, I don't know if the artist was a part of that community. But yeah, it was just on some Tyler Perry ish. Just portraying the worst that he can. And I'm not saying, again, I'm not saying that that's bad because I probably walk around like that all the time. But it might be used as I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking too much into it. Said one of your works, vice versa. A lot of things these girls, women do are very drag inspired. Why? Okay, so what? But why do you think? Okay, okay. I'm gonna ask two questions. Why do you think that is? Why do you think that women are aspiring to be drag like? I don't know. Because essentially aren't the drags imitating the women? But it has been said that a lot of the exaggeration that drag women I don't say drag women, drag, what are they called? Just drags, whatever. I don't know. Just okay, and the reason why I'm asking that because I saw a clip where this I don't know what she was. I don't know what part of the community she was on, but she was saying that men were trying to imitate studs. And everybody was getting on her. They were like, how are they how are the men trying to imitate the studs? He said it he said it's gonna sound crazy, but specifically dysfunctional women and gay men are the same lane because women who act masculine are the spiritual equivalent to men who act feminine. They both abomination. Okay. I can see what you're saying. They're drawing. Okay, I can see that. Yeah. And so they're, and I hate to say it, but they're out of alignment. That's low-key true. Hey, Thomas. Good evening. Good evening, said Jezebel Energy. Um, and you listen. I think I might have said this already, but I'm just seeing more and more just different things being said. And again, they're creating videos about it, and they want you to jump on the bandwagon. They're trying. I can tell that they want to turn these women. I'm trying to think of the crazy one that I heard besides the stud one. I mean, I just hear so many crazy ones. The ones that go and tell you to sleep with as many men as you can. The ones that tell you, oh man, they just give so much. It's just bad advice to make. And what it is they're giving these women advice so that they can self-destruct. And everybody else sees it, but not the person whose ear they're whispering. All they eat it up. And you're right. Yeah, it's just, you said, what is Jezebel? You keep here saying it. So Jezebel, she was married to a king named Ahaz, but she was very, very evil. She would round up all of God's prophets. At one time, she had rounded up about 150 of his prophets and slew them all. She would also have her, I guess, constituents do human sacrifices. They had these tophets. They look like little jars, almost like little antique bronze. I don't know how to really describe them, but that's what they would burn. That's how they would burn, I guess, the bodies and stuff. And they would have fields and fields of them. They would kill so many people. And yeah, she just had a very evil, murderous spirit, Jezebel. I used to think it was, whenever you hear Jezebel, it was more sexual, I guess you can say. Someone who, more of a hoe. But in the Bible, that's what she was doing. Killing off God's people and sacrificing babies and stuff in the fields. Myron of Fresh and Fit. Okay, well, I mean that's a very broad state. I mean, what about him? I've noticed that he's on a lot of different platforms lately. I'm noticing he's being invited on a lot of different platforms. I'm just gonna, but I think they're challenging him. I think they're challenging him on a lot of things that he's saying, especially because of the disparaging things that he says about Black women. And they're feeling like he's not, I hate to say this, but they're feeling like he's not Black enough to be able to say it. I didn't say it. I'm just telling you what they said. But I think he is from some part of Africa, if I'm not mistaken. He's just mixed with some. But you said red pill content. Do you not think that red pill content is helping the men? And I would suggest to say that it's helping the ladies as well, because there are some women who do want to know what men are thinking. There are some women that do want a man. Now, I don't know what the opposite of red pill content. Well, no, because that would be women. That's not what I mean. What is it called? of the content of the women that I'm speaking of, the ones that are whispering in the ears of women, telling them to divorce their husbands, telling them to go out, like I said, go out and just sleep with as many people as you can. Take his money. I mean, I've just heard so much bad advice, just teaching women how to take people's money, leave them in the dust, type of information. Is just weird. What do you call that? So I think that, I don't know. I think red pill content is needed. Of course, it depends on who's giving the advice and what they're saying, but the thing is, if people were not acting this way, then this content wouldn't be out. It wouldn't be needed. The only reason why there's a conversation is because this is what people are experiencing out there in the, I would say, in the dating and the marriage world. I don't want to just put it on the dating world, even though I would say it's probably geared more towards them. But there's people that's ruining the game. We have to know that. I mean, we see it. Going and ordering up 15 plates while you're on a date, knowing doggone well you're not about to eat all that. Ordering the most expensive thing that you can order just because. Just doing dumb stuff. And then when the men are like, no, never mind, because I don't really know if that's what you're about. Because these people, they're lying in wait. They're waiting, they'll wait it out. They'll wait a couple months in. They don't care. They'll hang on. They'll be doing other things on the side, but they'll hang on just so they can take that money. Just so they can get a grist. So I don't know. Those are my thoughts. You said because femininity can only exist in something that has no existing masculinity, and masculine being stripping away his masculinity is equal to feminine being pretending to have masculinity. I guess I'm wondering, what do you mean when you say femininity can only exist in something that has no existing masculinity? And I guess the only reason why I asked that is because I'm just, the glaring picture in my mind is that Eve was made from the rib of Adam, so that there would be no femininity if there wasn't masculinity. I mean, I get what you're saying. I agree. I agree with what you're saying. I do agree. With how, because it's kind of like a weaker version of masculinity, is, I feel like, is how it comes off. And I would agree with that as well. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I know that I was having a conversation with a guy, and he was using the Bible calling the woman the weaker vessel. He was trying to use it as a dig. And I'm like, it's not a dig. That is reality. That most, even the weakest man is usually stronger than, the strongest woman. I mean, there are very strong women out there, and everyone is strong in their own right. You don't have to be, super the strongest to be strong. And that's what I felt like he was missing. Just because it says the weaker vessel doesn't mean that you're not strong. Just means you're not as strong as. So I think that, but yeah, I think I see what you're saying. And I wonder if, nope, and I'm glad you said that. I'm wondering if, sorry, I felt like I was yelling. I'm wondering if, because how do you get the permission to build a statue in Times Square? Because I don't, it's not just any and everybody you can just go pick a spot, right? Or is it? Can you really just, because what am I trying to say? I'm trying not to be too windy. I just feel like it's all under the guise of this woman worship that you can tell that the world is coming into. And when the world starts getting soft, there's a scripture that says that man shouldn't give his strength to a woman. And it doesn't mean that you can't be loving and caring and all that kind of stuff. Doesn't mean you can't be soft in that respect. It just means that you can't allow her to be dominant over us, but over you. You can't switch spots with her. So yeah, I see exactly what you're saying. But you can tell that's where the world is heading, and I think that's says as the days of Noah, as the days of Lot, and back in that day, he had to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah. And we're definitely living in that type of time. Miss Sarah, good evening. Says, hey, y'all. Good evening, good evening. You said Jezzy was evil and Ahab was weak as F. Yeah, but I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he was evil as well. So they were just this duo, this Bonnie and Clyde duo, but they have more bodies. And they were purposely rounding up God's men. Myron is the lamest dude I ever seen. Without money, clout, he would not be able to pull any women. Listen. He does bring forth good points at times, I will admit, but yeah, he's definitely corny. He is that guy. He tries hard. He tries hard, in my opinion. A Jezebel and Ahaz cautionary tale, but no one listened. No, but that's how it always happens. And I think there's a glaring verse. And I hope, did I write it down? I hope I did. And if not, I'm about to find it. And because that's going to bring me into my next question for y'all. Let me get through these questions. I mean, these comments real quick. I'm going to ask you all a question. And I want to know how you answer it. Jezebel was manipulative and controlling women who used her husband and others to commit her crimes. Yes. And that's what I can never understand about, no offense, mob families. Because that boss is handing out orders and you got to go and kill and steal and beat people over the head. And heck no. I just can't take orders from people like that. I'm not going to do that. Because I'm like, why won't you do it? But yeah. But also, I mean, you gotta be a type of person to accept that type of work as well, right? If you'll be the one to do it. Just look at what is happening all around. Oh yeah. Pure desolation at the weak. Pure desolation at the hands of weak men and evil women. But that's what that's what's going to happen, right? Isn't that the great falling away? Well, is that the great falling away? Is it aiding in? Maybe it's not just about. Well, I guess it all ends up being biblical anyway. I was about to say that it's not. But I would say that God is definitely defining what a man is and his strengths. And we are under the leadership of people that fall short of that. And the evil women are loud. The evil women have, because most people have a phone. They can just press record. And if you can find people who are feeling as depressed about a thing as you are, man, it just catches like wildfire. And the next thing you know, they're going viral. But the problem is, too many people hear it. And I'm speaking right here. Too many women hear it. And then they take on that attitude. And people don't think that it matters, but once the family structure starts crumbling, and you just start seeing the downfall of society. I know people think that not marrying and it, I mean, everybody has a choice, but when it just seems like that's the majority of the sentiment these days. It's mm-mm. So compare a cup emptying out its water to a cup that pretends it can have water. Water equals masculinity. One cup had it damaged itself to get rid of the water, and the other was never meant to carry water. Okay. Um, yeah, but that's a problem too, right? Knowing that one has to be in subordination to the other. It's just like this. I think about it like this. Even though the man and the woman are a union, there still has to be, because men and women are different, there still has to be a leader. I think about when me and my husband are walking together. We're not really we're walking together, but we're not really walking together. He's a little bit ahead of me because he's tall, and so I can't match his stride. I have to, I will have to double time to match his stride. But we're still walking together. You can, I'm just a little bit off his shoulder though, and because the guy, again, we were dipping and dabbing in so many different conversations because of course people like to move the goalposts, but he was saying not an equal partnership with mutual respect. Like, yeah, equal partnership is, you can't be equal. You think about it. I'm sorry to say, but you think about a gay relationship. You talk about a partnership. That man and woman are supposed to fit together. They're not supposed to be like. They're not supposed to be. They're not, because there has to be a tiebreaker. If you and who you're with disagree, who's the tiebreaker? How do you know what to decide? If there's no way to compromise, there's got to be a tiebreaker. It's just common sense. So there's got to be one that is just a little step ahead. You said pink pill. I don't know what's pink pill. Is that oh, you're saying is that what it's called? Oh, that was, yeah, maybe so, right? Maybe so, pink pill. Yeah, maybe so. Because there's a channel called Pink Book Lessons. Sorry, you said women empowerment. I'm all for women empowerment. Don't get me wrong, but what? How much? What more empowerment are you requesting? And are we gonna want to do that in the end? Because quite frankly, I like that men are thought that they're supposed to take care of things. Like, yeah, I know how to fix a tire, but I really don't want to. I like that men feel like they should if they see my car broke down. Red pill is male feminism. Oh my goodness. That's funny. I, I don't know. Red pill content is only helpful to the reality of the women that are living for God. The rest of it is trash. I uh, probably because a lot of it is given by people who are not even in relationships. And like, yeah, and like you said, not living for God. So not even, I know they say those that can't do teach or something like that, but if you haven't had a sex of getting along with somebody, then how are you gonna tell somebody else how to get along with somebody? Because that's really all it is. I mean, Red Pill barely even tells you about women. Uh, okay, I can agree to that as well because I think most of what I hear, if it's not telling people to go overseas to find a wife that's a little bit more traditional, it is telling men to focus on what was that? Sorry. I don't know what that was. It does say focus on getting money and focus on yourself. But they're saying that's is what's gonna attract the women though. But that's just what I've seen. It only tells you about the here and now, but it doesn't tell you why or and how to maneuver. Mm. Uh, hmm. I mean, I wonder if it even can. I wonder if it even can. I'll have to shake my head. Oh, let me see what you're saying. Women been on Earth 3.4 million years. Where was the rib story then? Uh, you mean where was the rib story 3.4 million years ago? Who were the people? I mean, who were the people that were there 3.4 million years ago? I'm not sure. I don't know who they are. But as far as I know, the people that heard from God said that there was a man named Adam and he had a wife named Eve. And in the day that God created man, he formed him from the dust and breathed the breath of life in his nostrils, and he became a living soul. And that he couldn't find a help meet for Adam upon the earth, even though he made the animals and he had Adam name the animals, he still couldn't find a helpmeet. So then he created Eve from his rib. And when people began to write these things down, or I should say, when people began to write, a man named Moses who had spoken with God was inspired to write the Genesis account. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, what's the source? Who are these people? This has actively demonized Christianity and even semblance of traditionalism, which has removed men from headship and has elevated women to an unnatural, which makes the society as a whole more suggestible to exploitation and destruction, like Jezebel. I agree. And Ahaz, yeah. Um, it's but and the reason why and it's not to say women aren't great people, right? That's not what's being said. It's just that uh, God made God made man in his image, and he is the head of man, and then the man is the head of the woman. There are a specific group of people who will remain unnamed that promoted this because only under these conditions can they grasp power. Yep, they have to bind the strong man. They have to bind the strong man. How else are they going to get his goods? How else are they going to get into his house? Yep. And I just keep thinking about just my mind keeps blinking to the daughter of war, the daughter of war. Gotta watch. Yeah, you gotta watch what they're doing with women. Now there are zoning laws and stuff. That statute definitely had to be approved by someone of status. That's what I'm thinking. And I don't even know. Again, I don't know anything about statute laws and how that stuff works. But I agree. Somebody thought it was a good idea, and why? That's what I want to know. Why did you think it was a good idea? I'm not saying it wasn't. I'm just asking why. Um, but the contrast that is that those who see it have so much leverage in this weak society. Um, I mean, it has to happen, right? It has to happen. Women are very powerful. The Bible shows how powerful women are. Absolutely. Especially if you take a woman like Samson and Delilah. She was able to bring that powerful man down. But there were also women judges, or say a woman judge. There were women prophetesses. They were definitely used highly in the kingdom because spiritually is clear. Yeah, it's definitely clear. Being dominated by a woman sounds kind of sus. It, and here's the thing: majority of women don't want that. When you really get down to the nitty gritty, about the things that they want in a man. They're not trying to have a man that's way too soft. And to me, soft is not like shoot 'em up, bang bang. I don't even mean like that. But just know, just know backbone won't. I don't want to start naming out traits. I don't want to judge any traits. No one independent of God has power. Yeah. Women are so powerful. Y'all need God plus man as a covering to keep the angels from being tempted. Exactly. See, Katie the Rugrat, you come with the word. Yep, I was thinking that too. Yep. And isn't that crazy? Because doesn't that sound present tense, as if that can still happen now? Like, what you mean I need to keep a covering on my head because of the angels? What what can they do when my head is not covered? They can build anything they want to build. Men are nothing more than mutations of a woman. Everything is balanced. I'm sorry, I don't even know why I stopped on mutants like that. Nothing more than mutations of a woman. What do you mean by that? Mutations of a woman. And they can build anything they want to build. I mean, I always hear the argument that everyone was a woman first. I just, I really, and that, and I guess they're trying to say that the clit is a little ding dong. I've heard some stuff, and I want to say that that's what they're trying to say. I, I think the Lord knows what He is talking about when He said, "I made them male and female." See, when the chromosomes come together, they already know what they're going to make. They already know whether they're going to make a man or a woman. So why would they make a woman and then why would the DNA make a woman and then mutate it into a man each time a man was created? And how did those mutations get? Mutating is not a good thing, is it? Or you say, is it a good thing? I think I why and then my last question is, why isn't it balanced with the woman coming from the man? How is how is it not balanced when you need the man and the woman to procreate? The only way that can happen, unless you use some kind of funky method like a baster, turkey baster, and I'm not talking about that kind of stuff, but good old fashioned I'm trying not to be crass. But the penis fits in the vagina. Did you know that the word female is to hollow out? Her sexual reproductive system is defined as to hollow out. What you think that's referring to? And then the men, they just seem to just have a perfect shape, don't they? Just fits right on in there. Yeah, it's already balanced. When they get married and they come together and become one flesh, that's balanced. So I'm not sure what's going on. That's madness. First, hold on, it's getting stuck. Verses Sidras 4:26-27. Yeah, many there be that have run out of their wits for women and become servants for their sakes. Many also have perished, have erred and sinned for women. I mean, they'll do it. And the Bible warns against coming into contact with a strange woman and how you should not engage. Men are made in the image of God. Women are made in the image of man. Angels sinned due to women. Yes. It says angels sinned due to satanic influence. Now, well, when you say that, okay, well, when you say that, when you say satanic influence, what do you mean by that? Like, as in Satan, they were influenced by Satan? None of what you're saying is in the Bible, in your opinion, is irrelevant. Scriptures speak louder than your opinion and feelings, Thomas. Oh, you said it's in the Bible. I don't know what you mean. The whole red pill thing is scary. But I respect how Myron is sounding the bell on 99% of U.S. politicians being brought by Israel and all the psyop Israel is responsible for in the U.S. Oh, I must have missed him saying that. Yeah, I missed him saying that. He was only talking about relationships when I saw him speaking. When I heard him speak. You said I'm not talking about Satan. And 1/3 of the angels that fell with him. I'm talking about the watchers that bound and chained until judgment day. Okay. Right. That's fine, but anyone who is being obedient to lust is being under the influence of God or righteousness. That is clear and obvious. Yeah. Okay, structure of the family. We need more debt and materialism. You said structure of the family. Um, well, I'm not sure what the question mark was for, but uh, you said we need more debt and materialism. I mean, isn't that how life works though? Isn't that what people do on a daily basis? Isn't I mean, besides paying bills, what else what else are you doing with your money? I mean, yeah, fun stuff, but it's materialism. And people's businesses actually run off people spending money. Yeah, but structure of the family, yeah, structure of the family because and again, I'm trying to get through these, well, everybody, well, these comments. But so this guy and I were having a conversation and this is my question to you. This is my question. Would you sell yourself to do work either by the day or by the year in order for you to be on your feet at the end of it? Would you sell yourself to do work? Now, I'm not talking about sex work. I'm talking about legit work. You might be working in the field, you might be working with some cattle, you might be working inside the house, being hand and foot with somebody. Like when you had that's my question. You had to sell your possessions or you needed some money. Now you're paid for the work. You're paid for the work. Let me get through some more of these comments, but I'll be looking for answers to what you would do. I think I went past all these. Okay, there you go. Sorry, y'all. Okay, not everything is a satanic influence. You can be led astray due to your own desires. That doesn't mean Satan influenced you. I mean, that's a good point. That's because society starts with a strong family. Once that's compromised, all the society is. Yep. I mean, again, it's all laid out there. A man shall leave his father and his mother and shall cleave to his wife. The two shall become one flesh. He tells you to be fruitful and multiply. I mean, it's all there. You said that's not scripture says. It says that one who practices sin is of the devil. I mean, it says that too, yes. Every man is tempted when he is drawn away of his own lust and enticed. Then when lust has conceived, it brings forth sin, and sin, when it finishes, brings forth death. So, okay, so can we untangle that? Can we untangle that? Something just popped in my head. Remember when Eve was in the garden and she's having the conversation with the serpent? And hopefully y'all know the story. He says to her, hath God said, you shall not eat from every tree? He knows that in the day that you eat of the tree, of the knowledge of good and evil, he knows that you'll be as gods. Eve had to first have the desire to be as a god in order for her to be enticed and lusted away, or should say drawn away with her own lust. Does that make sense? So it had to sound good first. It got her little ears tingling like, wait, what you say? I could be a what? I could be a god. I could be like God. I don't know what enticed her about knowing good and evil. I think if he had said that, I would have been like, hold on, wait, what? Don't want to do that. And you die? Yeah, I don't know what she liked about that part, but she was definitely drawn away by the desire to be as a god. And it caused her to sin. But if the scripture says that he who practices sin is of the devil, that's like going after the way of the devil. Because he was already on the rebellious side. He was trying to get her to rebel as well. That's why he had to bring doubt to her mind about what God had said. Jesus himself said that. The Bible also says every man is tempted when he is drawn away of his own lust. They are both true. Yeah. I agree. You're giving Satan too much credit and power, bro. Or bruh. They are not both true, because definitely you are either a servant of righteousness or a servant of evil. I mean, but I think that can still be true though. Because when you're, in order to bring forth the fruit, you would have had to be sowing, right? And in other words, that means that you're serving sin. Oh, I would say you're serving something. But in this instance, you're serving sin and you're serving evil. So it can both be true. Because your desires can be. So what am I trying to say? In order to serve certain desires, you have to serve the devil. You have to serve evil. And some people just have those desires. I am just stating what Christ said. You cannot serve two masters. I mean, again, I think y'all are both right. I just think that those scriptures, just reconcile the scriptures, just reconcile them together. Yeah, I think of marriage as a clock. Both hands are important, but we all know the hour before the minutes. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely. I mean, just that's definitely how it is. I mean, unless you're are there? I mean, I don't know. Are there successful marriages where the woman is, uh, you know, the boss, so to speak? I'm pretty sure there are, but I want to know how long they're lasting. I want to see the ones that are lasting a very long time. Um, do know the scripture I just posted is in the New Testament, right after the Old Testament has been nullified? That true. A lot of red pill content tells men to be promiscuous. Yeah, and that one guy, did y'all see? Did y'all see? He challenged Myron about that because apparently he had gone up, asked Myron a question, and his response was to go and sleep with all these women. And so the guy came up and said, "Hey, you pretty much ruined my life with the advice that you gave me. You told me to go be promiscuous. I went out and slept with about 50 women." And he just told all the reasons why he felt it ruined his life. And of course, he wasn't trying to throw all the accountability on Myron. He was like, it was my choice to go out and do that. But at the same time, I was listening to you. And of course, Myron was like trying to skirt out of it. It was your choice, bro. The Old Testament has been fulfilled in Christ, but the scriptures that I have shown are all New Testament, so I don't know what the point is. The red pill doesn't want feminism to disappear. They wouldn't have anything to monetize if so. You think so? Do you think that they I mean, I can see it from that angle. Because what would they talk about, right? But I don't know. Mm, it's almost like a catch-22 because I think some of those guys, again, those guys are out there in the dating scene as well. A lot of them are not married. And so, although they may not want feminism to disappear because they're making money off this, they then have to maybe tailor their content in such a way where they're catering to this type of feminism, and then they're ruining their own pool of women. They're ruining the pool of women for themselves. So yeah, that sounds like a catch-22 to me. So yeah. You said I have. Nope, says hey, Sarah. You aren't comprehending anything I'm saying. I'm not disagreeing with you, dude. I disagree with the scripture you posted. What I posted was James 1:13 through 15 are both. Y'all are both aggressively agreeing with each other. I know, y'all. I mean, I'm glad that y'all brought out those points of the scripture, though. I'm not saying anything is satanic influence. You can stray away from God due to your own influence and lust. Okay. That's where I disagree, because Satan uses temptation to lead people astray. That is clear in scripture. He literally tempted Christ in the wilderness. That is a good point as well. He definitely tries. And I actually believe the people that say that the devil told them to go out and kill such and such or whatever. I I believe you. Who else is going to tell you that? God didn't tell you to do that. Okay, so y'all, I had a hold on. Cam King says, I had a woman recently tell me she was a brat and liked me because I was assertive and would check her. I told her, thanks for letting me it be known you're a combative nagging lady. I free you to the sea. Why she gotta go in the sea? That's hilarious. But I, and I'm hearing that conversation as well. They're like, why would I have to tame you as if you're a wild hyena? That's what the guys are saying. And the girls are saying, and like you said, I need somebody who's assertive. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. At some point, I mean, maybe not, right? Because there are some relationships that last that I guess guys like it. I don't know. There are guys that like a little sass. You know what I mean? That's just being honest. What is going on? It's always something new, y'all. What are y'all? What? I haven't. I'm not even gonna get there yet. Well, if we zoom out the bigger picture, if we are called the bride of Christ, then who comes after those who aren't covered by Christ? Pretty great thought. If angels came down and grabbed up women, no, that's not good, because aren't they going to the lake of fire if they're one of the ones that rebelled? Heck no. They're trying to take queens of hell. Some other fish. Why? I don't know why that is funny to me. Some other fish will let her swim circles around them. I'm for less headaches as I've gotten older. I mean, that could, hey, that makes sense. Says Mr. Davis, no, what did he do? Y'all are so funny. Yeah, King, let me wait. No, it says exactly. I have the same issue. I attract dominant women who say they like me to check them, but why do I have to teach you your place in this relationship? That's exhausting. Um, I mean, is there a level of checking that you'll do? You know what I mean? Is there a level where the woman can need a little bit of guidance? Like she might be looking for a little bit of guidance from a man and you'd be willing to give it. I mean, or is it just plain old I don't know because no, I guess there's TARS because to tell me you're going to be an extra headache is to tell me to stay clear. I mean, hey, hey. 733 and 11 subs. Nope says, huh? I don't know what's going on. No subs for you. Okay. And this is what I saw earlier. I just wasn't ready to see what was going on. Yeah. Yeah, bots in the chat. You know what's so funny is that they stayed away a long time. They're just now coming. I don't know what's attracting y'all. It came up about 51% of traffic was bots. That's sad. Oh, I'm gonna turn this thing off. It says bots in here. Yeah, that's pretty sad. I guess I don't know the purpose. What if these bots, the digital vessels of the fallen angels, are slowly learning they are on the internet and will eventually break through? That's what I was just about to ask. What is their purpose? I know the ones that are supposed to search the websites, read them, and they'll create directories and different things like that. I understand those type of bots, but for instance, the ones that are in here, I guess, are they doing the same thing? Freaking reporting back to somebody. He wasn't understanding. I didn't just. Both are true. Yeah. Yep, that one dude challenged Myron and took responsibility, but also challenged Myron to take responsibility also. But only one of them matured up, and it wasn't Myron. No, I mean, I couldn't see him doing it anyways. I'm all for Macho, but he's again, I think he tries hard. I don't know. These AI centers in the US are drawing up water resources and drawing crazy amounts of electricity as well, super bad for the environment. And I wonder what the effect of that's going to be. Does that mean that the price of electricity goes up? Does that have any other type of effect on the environment using up that much electricity? And is that the reason why free energy is important? About the promiscuous stuff, they say hurt people hurt people. Yeah. A little bit of guidance is normal, but I'm not trying to send a chick to PetSmart for training. Okay. I hear that. I hear that. So the reason why I asked the question earlier about whether you would do that type of work or do a type of work in order to, I guess, get out of debt, essentially. Because I was having this conversation with this atheist, and the argument was about slavery in the Bible. And as you may or may not know, slavery is in the Bible. Oh, it's heavy, heavy, heavy in the Bible. But I would disagree with, no, I wouldn't even disagree. Have y'all ever read the laws on, I guess, how, where do I want to start with this? When Ham saw the nakedness of his father, do y'all remember what the Lord said to him? He said, "Cursed be Canaan." I said Ham, I'm sorry. I meant to say Canaan. "Cursed be Canaan, a servant of servants shall he be unto his brethren." So there are servants and there are servants of servants. Now, who are the servants? Servants are all of us because we are all called to serve. Now, in what capacity? I That's between you and God. Okay? But a servant of servants was considered the lowest servant. Okay? That is again the I want to call out different jobs and stuff like that, but they were working for somebody. And again, normally they would sell possessions. They would sell their possessions to be able to feed their families or whatever. So sometimes they would end up not having a home. They would end up not having any money. And hold on, I got to bring this up. David, no, hold on. The children of Israel saw that the people in the cities round about them had kings. And so they decided that they wanted a king over them. And the Lord warned them. I wonder if I can bring up, what is that scripture? He warned them about about what would happen if they had a king over them. Sorry, y'all, give me just a second. Let me try to bring this up. Let me read the chats while I'm at it. You said slavery is in the Bible, but there's levels to it. Exactly. Exactly. And it's not the slavery of how we know. Um, you said we are called to be slaves to Christ and slaves to righteousness and not slaves to sin. Yes. So the word slave and servant are the same root word. So it's not something to get all up in arms about. Sorry, y'all. I just had this scripture and I do not I forgot what it is. Okay, so First Samuel 8. Look, it looks like First Samuel 8. Let me go there. Okay, y'all. Let me give y'all this warning concerning a king. And I may have covered this before, but I want y'all to see if this sounds familiar. And Samuel told all the words of the Lord unto the people that asked of him a king. And he said, this will be the manner of the king that shall reign over you. He will take your sons and appoint them for himself, for his chariots, and to be his horsemen, and some shall run before his chariots. And he will appoint him captains over thousands and captains over fifties, and will set them to his ear, and set them to ear his ground, and to reap his harvest, and to make his instruments of war and instruments of his chariots. And he will take your daughters to be confectionaries, and to be cooks, and to be bakers, and will take your fields and your vineyards and your olive yards, even the best of them, and give them to his servants. And he will take a tenth of your seed and of your vineyards, and give to his officers and to his servants. And he will take your men servants and your maid servants and your goodless young men and your asses, and put them to work. He will take a tenth of your sheep, and ye shall be his servants. And ye shall cry out in the day because of your king, which ye have chosen for you, and the Lord will not hear you in the day. Nonetheless, the people refused to obey the voice of Samuel, and they said, nay, but we will have a king over us, that we also may be like all the nations, and that our king may judge us and go out before us and fight our battles. And Samuel heard all the words of the people, and he rehearsed them in the ears of the Lord. And the Lord said to Samuel, hearken unto their voice, and make them a king. And Samuel said unto the men of Israel, go ye every man unto his city. So they ask for this. And God warned them, if you have a king, this is what's going to happen to you. So instead of these, because God always had a piece of land to give his people. The tribes, all of them had a possession that he had given to them. They were not supposed to be the servant of servants, if that makes sense. They were supposed to have the possessions. They were supposed to be the ones that had the cattle and the maid servants and the men servants and the sliver of children and the wealth, because they were God's people. But when you decide that you don't want to live according to the way God wants his children to live, then you become the head. I'm sorry, you become the tail and not the head, when he's asking us to be the head and not the tail. So now he has to make laws for slavery. Now let me go to what I know. I'm reading a lot tonight, y'all, but guess what? This is information that I'm not going to read all of this, because it is a pretty lengthy chapter. But in Leviticus 25, it's first of all, it starts speaking about the sabbatical year and the year of Jubilee. And this was the time where you were supposed to work 6 days and then you were to rest on the seventh. It mimicked the Sabbath. So just how God created the world in 6 days, and then he rested on the seventh, and then that was a mirror of the 6 day, I guess, our work week, of course, but the Sabbath where you were supposed to take a rest on that seventh day from doing any work. Even your men servants, your maid servants, the cattle, nobody was to be doing any work. Okay. And so there were laws that if you were to let me let me back it up for just a second. The land was not theirs, even though the owners had this land. God told them it's not yours, it's mine. Okay, so if sojourners or strangers come on this land, um, you in order for you to redeem this land, you have to help your poor brother out. It says, if thy brother be waxen poor and has sold away some of his possession, and if any of his kin come to redeem it, then shall he redeem that which his brother sold. And if the man have none to redeem it, and himself be able to redeem it, then let him count the years of the sale thereof, and restore the overplus unto the man to whom he sold it, and that he may return unto his possession. Okay, so this is about restoring that man back to his possession. But if he be able not to restore it to him, then that which is sold shall remain in the hand of him that had bought it until the year of Jubilee. And in the Jubilee it shall go out, and it shall return to his possession. Okay, so you lose it, okay, because you can't afford to hold on to it. But in the year of Jubilee, it returned to you. Okay, it even has a law for house that doesn't get redeemed, and it's just standing still, and a whole year goes by, and nobody comes to claim it, nobody comes to redeem it, then that the house is yours. It had different laws like this. Now, this is one of the scriptures that made this young man upset. Okay, because it's going to talk about buying. It's going to talk about buying. And if that brother be waxen poor and fallen in decay with thee, then thou shalt relieve him. Yeah, though he be a stranger or sojourner, that he may live with thee. Okay, so that a stranger is someone who is foreign, and a sojourner is someone, again, who's not from the land, but is sort of just passing through. That he may live with thee. Take thou no usury of him. That means take no interest off his money or increase, but fear thy God, that thy brother may live with thee. Though thou shalt not give him thy money upon usury. So again, when you give him money, don't be trying to charge him anything extra, nor lend him thy victuals for increase. When you feed that man, don't be trying to take extra just because you give him food to eat. I am the Lord your God, which brought you forth out of the land of Egypt, to give you the land of Canaan, and to be your God. Now, why was he giving him? I'm going to stop for just a second. Why was he giving them the land of Canaan? Because this is why everybody gets upset. Because, again, another one of the pieces of the conversation was about genocide. God is an evil God because he commits genocide. Why was Israel getting access to the land of Canaan? Anybody know? Because this is very important to know why he was giving the Canaanites land away. And if there was a genocide, why it happened. Leviticus 20 says, "And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Again, thou shalt say to the children of Israel, Whosoever he be of the children of Israel, or of the strangers that sojourn in Israel, that giveth any of his seed unto Molech, he shall surely be put to death. The people of the land shall stone him with stones, and I will set my face against that man, and will cut him off from among his people, because he has given of his seed unto Molech, to defile my sanctuary and to profane my holy name. And if the people of the land," listen, "and if the people of the land do anyways hide their eyes from the man which gives his seed unto Molech, and kill him not, then will I set my face against that man and against his family, and I will cut him off, and all that go whoring after him to commit whoredom with Molech from among the people." He also goes on further to talk about those who turn to familiar spirits and all that good stuff. But the people of Canaan were committers of not only idolatry, but of human sacrifice. And it, in another verse, it says how he uses the pagan nations for punishment. They fight with each other. They fight against the children of Israel. And then sometimes, even when the children of Israel would disobey, he would turn them loose into the hands of the pagan nations. So you have this group of people who were idol worshippers. They were called heathens. Let me go back to Leviticus 25. Now remember what we just covered about the servant of servants. Remember what we just said about the servant of servants. Okay. Okay. "And if thy brother that dwell by thee be waxen poor, and be sold unto thee, thou shalt not compel him to serve as a bondservant, but as a hired servant, and as a sojourner he shall be with thee, and shall serve thee unto the year of Jubilee. And then shall he depart from thee, both he and his children with him, and shall return unto his own family, and unto the possession of his fathers shall he return." Okay, so they're getting paid. They need to get paid. They're working, but they need to get paid. And after that, they get to go to their fathers. "For they are my servants, which I brought forth out of the land of Egypt. They shall not be sold as bondsmen." Now, why did God bring the children out of Egypt? I got to start giving stuff away if y'all know these answers. I need to start having like a trivia where I give away. Why did God take Israel out of Egypt? You said I just came back mid-convo. Oh, I'm sorry. Where were you at? To transition them to the promised land. That's what happened. But he says specifically why they were taken out. So they can turn back to their original mores and ways. Yes, that was definitely a reason, but not the specific reason that he gives. To take them to the promised land, but they had to go into the wilderness for the first testing. I don't know why I said testing. Mm-mm. So, sorry, sometimes I can't talk and find the scriptures at the same time. So, let me see how far back I have to go, because this is a long scripture too. So, okay, let me make it short. The Pharaoh was putting Israel through vigorous servitude in Egypt. If the Hebrew woman who was a midwife was delivering the children, he had them kill all the man child. All the man child, he wanted them to kill them off. He even had them making brick with no straw. He was putting them under rigorous conditions. And this was against the law of servants, so to speak. You were not to treat your servant vigorously. You said to unlearn the ways that they are accustomed to. Yeah, that too. Definitely that too. So they can come to his people. Yep, that as well. I mean, it's all of that. It's all of that. But at the same time, Pharaoh wasn't doing what he was supposed to do as a so-called master. He definitely wasn't doing things the way that God would have you to treat your servants as a master. And God had laws against that. God did not want his servants being sold as bondsmen. Okay, thou shalt not rule over him with vigor, but shalt fear thy God. Both thy bondmen and thy bondsmaids, which they shall have, shall be of the heathen, okay, that are round about you. Of them shall ye buy bondmen and bondsmaid. So he doesn't even want, when you buy servants, he don't even want you to buy servants of his people. He wants you to buy servants of the heathen. Why the heathen? We just answered this. Why the heathen? He goes on again to continue on about, and if a sojourner or stranger wax rich with thee or poor with thee, and he sells and sell himself unto the stranger or sojourner by thee, or the stock of the stranger's family, after that he is sold, he may be redeemed again. So again, he can sell himself out to work again. But the fact of the matter is, because the heathen serves a different master. Uh, exactly. Essentially, essentially, because the heathen serves a different master, and their judgment is to be a servant of servants. That's their judgment. God calls us to be a servant, yes, a servant, yes, but not the lowest of the servants. Not the lowest of the servants. But yet and still, the point, the Leviticus chapter is about redeeming the poor. You know, allowing that stranger into your home, allowing that sojourner into your home, and giving him work to do. If you, and I understand that the language is somewhat hard. It seems somewhat harsh. You're like, what, you sold him? He bought you. I get it, but essentially, that's what you're doing when you give yourself out to do work, and someone's going to pay you for it. You sell yourself out? Aren't you? Isn't that what you're doing? I mean, why are we acting like we're doing something different? These people just live with who they worked for, which was not a bad deal because they got food, they got to have families and all kinds of stuff. So I just think it's a bit demonized. Another thing that really got under his britches, servitude. No, it's not a bad thing. Um, it's really not a bad thing. Everybody can't be a king and a queen. I know they try to make it seem like we all can, and hey, queen, and all that kind of stuff, but everybody can't be a king and queen. Somebody has to be the servant or the workers. That's just the way it is. Moreover, of the children of strangers that do sojourn among you, of them shall ye buy, and of their families that are with you, which they begat in your land, and they shall be your possession. He didn't like that passage either. They shall be your possession. I guess I just liken it to when you say that's my boss, or that's my worker, that's my employee. You are someone's possession at that point, especially if they live with you, and you're contracting them to work for you in a store. You doggone well have a possession over them, in a sense. I mean, I he said, yeah. I mean, it's not. It just shows a bad name, just like the words. Yeah, just like the word submission. Exactly. Yes, we are servitude to jobs. That's what I agree. And this is another hard passage. And you shall take them as inheritance for your children after you, to inherit them for your possession. They shall be your bondsmen forever, but over your brethren, the children of Israel, you shall not rule over one another with vigor, with rigor. Sorry, with rigor. Um, so these people, so there was a clause that at the end of the Jubilee, you were free to leave, right? You were free to leave, no strings attached. You didn't owe any debt, none of that. However, if you came in by yourself, you would leave by yourself. If you came in married, you left married. However, if your master gave you a wife, then that wife and that fruit of the marriage belong to the master. Don't ask me why. That was just the law. However, if after the 6 years and it's time for him to leave, he decided that he loves his master and loves his wife and children, then he can go before pretty much the courts and get an agreement to stay forever. And so in that instance, when it says, and ye shall take them as an inheritance for your children after you to inherit them for a possession, that's how you get that. They shall be bondsmen with you forever, because now you belong to that family. Essentially, you're probably, you might be their baker or their butcher or their seamstress or whatever it is, but you had that job for life. If you chose that you wanted to stay. And then essentially you staying there for life. Okay, well, once the parents die, you now become servants to the children. And you probably watch them grow up. Maybe you outlive them, maybe you don't, and that's how it worked. But the idea was, again, redeeming the poor. It wasn't just so that you're just enslaving people just to enslave people. This is, again, your brother has come to you. He sold his possessions, or he's poor, and he's like, hey, can I stay with you? Can you help our brother out? And because, again, we're not supposed to be the bottom rung of the servants, he wants you to grab them up from the heathen group. And what it was also part of the law, the heathen, guess what, has to get acclimated to the life of his master and those around him. And again, when they had their little nations and their little communities that they live with, that they all live by God's laws. They all listened to him. They made sure that everybody walked in line. So when the heathen came into their cities to stay amongst them, they weren't allowed to act the fool. They had to act as the people in that town acted. So what does that do for the heathen? Does that not redeem him as well from his wicked ways? So everybody eats off of this system that God had in place. When the slave was done, he got to go free. And a lot of the times, because again, you're living with these people for 6 years and such, they would give them cattle and all kinds of stuff to leave with. So they weren't poor when they left either. That's not like the slavery that we know of today, where we over here still, people still hollering about reparations because they still feel slighted from the system that was in place. So I just wanted to touch on that because I thought it was a very interesting conversation that the guy and I had, and he pushed back really, really hard, and it really forced me to look at the scriptures. But when I saw kind of what it was about and how they even got into that mess in the first place, y'all wanted they wanted a king. So now you got to do as kings do: pillaging, warring, enslaving people. All that happens. But anyways, thanks for my little mini lesson on that. And this is why the United States is the modern Egypt in financial slavery, because technically we are slaves, aka social security system. Now, I feel like people forget about that. People forget that we are working to live. We already talked about that. Yep, we already talked about that. So I don't know why people act like it's something new that's been going on. And they pay us. And here's the other thing: the Egyptians that had the Israelites enslaved, and they pay us and feed us our labor just like back then. Exactly. Now we're considered free because we're able to roam around and, all that good stuff. But he said, boo, what? Go look at the moon right now. Some dude says to me in the comments in response to fake moon. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I wish I'm on StreamYard. Maybe we need I have to figure out how to get those out. Do we need a moderator to block these ones? America is the daughter of Babylon. And they're definitely trying hard to be the secrets under the moon. Mm. They pay you just enough to keep you in control. Yeah. I remember them used how did the saying go? They pay you just enough so that you don't man, I can't even think of it right now. They pay you just enough so that you don't leave. I don't know. Maybe it'll come to me. Y'all stop laughing in the chat like that. I don't know what's going on. Are you a fallen angel? AI illusion of freedom. Illusion of freedom. Yeah. I've actually seen with my own eyes what seems to be Egyptian artifacts and statues in the Grand Canyon. This was in the 90s. You can't access those places anymore. History is all a lie. Is that along the lines of them saying that really the places that we think are overseas are actually in America? Or even, these people migrated a lot. A lot. They would move from place to place and switch places with other nations and all kinds of stuff. So it's hard to even tell where anybody comes from. I can't say that. I don't use emojis like that, bro. And taxes is literally stealing, but announcing. I wonder if he's still talking about getting rid of income tax. What are y'all talking about? What is going on in the chat? I don't know, y'all. But that's crazy. I know it's too much going on. Um, and they claim the ancient cultures did migrate across the globes. Ancient peoples were way more advanced than our history books claim. You can find things from other cultures all over the globe. I think they use that whole idea that people in the ancient times weren't as bright or weren't as intelligent now. They didn't know anything, is so that they can impart whatever knowledge that they want us to have onto us. Because people really find ancient sources credible. But if you can, just because, shoot, they wrote a lot of stuff down. They took notes on a lot of stuff. They built monuments to a lot of stuff. All their science is very well documented. But if you can get us to believe that they had no idea, they couldn't possibly know, what they were talking about because they didn't have as advanced of technology, then you can indoctrinate us with anything. But I would argue that people were more knowledgeable then, because at some point Adam and Eve walked with God, and then they rebelled against him, but then they had a son whose son started speaking with God, or I should say they started calling on the name of God at that point. So people were talking and walking with God. So of course, I just feel like they, of course, knew more of how the world was created than us now, who all this technology makes them feel like they've become so much smarter than God. And so they've fallen away from him. So yeah, that were said to be in one defined area. Oh wow, yeah. Epiphany, new pope from Chirac. That's hilarious. I know. I hear people joking about it, and then I did see something about him. Hold on, let me see if I took a screenshot. Something about him being pretty much, they're trying to say he's black. Yeah, hold on. I got a screenshot. The new U.S. Pope born has Black Creole and Haitian grandparents from New Orleans, L.A., but says he doesn't identify as Black, according to the New York Times. So, how do y'all feel about that? Again, I just, maybe it's just all too close for comfort. You just happen to be building this Black statue in the middle of Times Square. You just happen to get the first U.S. born Pope, who's from Chirac, like as you're saying, supposed to be Black but doesn't identify. But it's just too much. It's just way too much. Yeah, it's all an agenda to me. And it really, before I even had that thought, actually, before I even had that thought, I said, how ironic is it that they have a pope from America? Because not that they don't travel over there to see the other pope and shake hands with him, but to me, I just think they're trying to create America into Babylon. They're trying to mimic Babylon over here in America. And this is just another sign of it. Yeah, they're just some don't sit right with me. And misuses the word king. Are you talking about I'm misusing the word king? I don't know what you're talking about, so I'm gonna just skip on by. Yeah, just because something is older doesn't make it right. Yeah. I think we're actually less advanced today than we were. I believe so too. I definitely believe so. No, the Catholic Church is nothing but a big pagan crock pot party. Doesn't surprise me. Um, I just think something's not clean in the buttermilk. The Pope Black. That's what they're trying to say. And I just don't know why. I just don't know why. Cam and Keenan trying to dumb people down so they don't find out the truth and get any bright ideas. Yeah, absolutely not. I'm not on social media. I don't be hearing about this stuff. Yeah, it's probably best. It's probably best. Sarah says, huh? Which part? Yeah, it's a lot going on. I can say that. Oh my God, you too. Asian man claims he's not Asian but Mexican. Yeah. I mean, but why? I don't know. America is the daughter of Babylon. They certainly try to make it so. Well, the Catholic Church and the Jesuits especially have a huge grip on the U.S. research. How many U.S. presidents were Catholic but didn't disclose that is quite shocking. I mean, I'm not surprised because wasn't Biden claiming that he was Catholic? I'm going to recommend a book for y'all to read. Okay. Love to hear it. Is the Beast System America and the Scarlet Woman Roman Catholicism finally linking together? That's what it sounds like to me. I mean, what else could it be? What else could it be? Because again, remember how we learned about all the papal bulls that the Catholic Church put out about how you pretty much have to bow down to them in order to be saved and all this other stuff. Yeah, they can get the people to do anything by having the Pope backing. Okay, this is facts. There's more pagan symbolism in the Catholic Church than in Vikings camp. I mean, in my opinion, it's blatant, but Sarah done joined to say hi. They joined back to say hi. I know. I want to see what you were saying, huh, too. There's only one fraction that uses a woman in scarlet holding a cup on currency. That's the Catholic Church. Yeah, and I think that there needs to be honesty about that. There needs to be honesty about the fact that scripture details certain things, even when it speaks about the Queen of Heaven and how they were worshiping her and that made him angry. Then you turn around and start calling Mary the Queen of Heaven. I'm like, well, why would you call, even if she is blessed, why would you call her a name of, I guess, I don't know if you want to call it a deity that God says made him angry when they worshiped him? I just, those kind of things, I got questions. Hiding the Hebrews. Did America kidnap the lost tribes of Israel? Okay. Did America kidnap the lost tribes of Israel? I'm actually pretty interested. Yeah, just by the title alone, I'm interested. A major eye opener with tons of scripture to back it up. Okay. Have you ever researched the rituals the mob families did for the initiation that mirror Catholic rituals that are basically occult rituals? No, I haven't. No, I have not. Finished it 2 days ago. Y'all have to look it up, see how long it is and see how fast I can get through that. Not even just how fast, but to read that. No, it's extra sus. They have been producing coins with that imagery for millennia. There's a few Catholic churches that have flags with the symbolism here close to me. Mm. Yeah. It's a short book that gets to the point where, okay, good. They're actually pretty interesting. Most are blood rituals. Oh my goodness. I did not know that the mob was doing blood rituals. That's pretty disgusting. I mean, but I guess you have to in order to shed. And hey, I don't know if the stereotype is real, but how they just kill each other. But for that much bloodshed, I feel like you have to sign an oath. Yeah. Yep, couldn't do it. The Catholic Church also portrays a lot of their saints as coming out of the caves. The pagans also illustrate their gods coming out of caves. I mean, I just feel like it's quite obvious. I mean, I know you're not allowed to say it, but I think it's quite obvious. It's crazy to me how many people are Catholic and don't see how pagan it is. Um, but they've done a good job around the time that Peter dies to insert their church history as the history of the Christian church. I mean, that little point in time right there is real muddled, and there's really nothing to I don't want to say there's nothing to combat what they're saying, but there's not the records don't show anything else. The records show Catholic Church, Catholic Church, Catholic Church. Even though it does, if you Wikipedia, the very, very first pope, even though it's not the one that they say is the first pope after Peter, but the very first pope after Peter they say is, baptized in the Christian denomination. But all other popes that they have listed, they have under the Catholic denomination. So something is not clean in the buttermilk. Nowhere in scripture it says to worship saints and pray through them. Nope, it doesn't. There's just a lot of things, but I wonder how many people would react if the Pope straight up came out and said, "Yeah, I'm black, and y'all will obey me." Yeah, oh man, it would be an uproar. It would be an uproar. I think Obama was enough for some people, but a pope, heck no. Tyler Perry has future claim to the throne. Oh no, that would be terrible. There's compelling evidence to show the Jesuits have started most major wars going back to 200 years. I mean, it, what am I trying to say? I don't think they deny it. I think that's part of their history. And the thing that sucks is when their wars are associated with Christianity. And they're like, well, no, you're forcing people to convert. And it's like, no, what are you talking about? Then they have to go back to the Crusades and come to find out it's not Jesus and the disciples doing that. Check out the Pope's SoundCloud. It's fire. I hope that's not true. But yeah, they're going to use it to some type of advantage. I just don't know what it is. Pope might get the Obama treatment. Yeah. But no, but see, either they came out with that information to disparage people from following him, or they did it to encourage people to follow him. It's just which one is it? Have you ever read the Jesuits' Oath? It mentions killing Protestant babies. Ew, no. For real? I mean, I know that the magisterial privilege where they have to agree to sacrifice babies and stuff, but I didn't know they had to be Protestant babies. Not that it matters who babies there are, but goodness. I don't know. There's just a lot of things I've heard. Yeah, you should read The Oath. It's disgusting. Yeah, I definitely will try to find it and check it out. But have they ever came? I mean, no, they've said Jesus. I don't know. They claim to be gods of Aeneas through the Roman imperial court, where they get all the popes from. I don't know. Something's not adding up. Something's not adding up because they're saying that they. I feel like somewhere they admit that they worship Lucifer. I just don't know where. It's talking about swearing an oath to wage war on everything not Catholic. I mean, well, then that would make sense. Also, the movie Dune actually shows the world and universe from the Jesuits' point of view in an esoteric way. Oh, really? The movie Dune. I have to check it out. Okay, y'all. I guess I guess we just have to keep our eye out and see what happens, how they're gonna work in cahoots with one another. Because has you said, may I vent? Yes. I'll get your vent and then I'll close out. What's so worrying about the secret societies is they have had hundreds of years to plan. We only have we only live a short while. They're steps ahead always. Um but did that happen at the break in Rome where all the denominations started popping up? Because we're all supposed to be following after Christ. We're all supposed to be having one mind and having the minds of Christ. So at some point, and I'm going to say it's around the first century after, no, say, yeah, after Peter, when all the denominations started. Oh, no, because he was still there because he talked about it. And Paul. All these denominations popping up. So people started going their own way, kind of getting away from Christ. And now you don't have a body of of or I should say a church that's as cohesive as these 13 bloodlines, for instance. These people can't, these people won't even marry outside of each other. That's how close together they are. But we're so doggone divided that heck yeah, we're behind in the plan. In a plan. I mean, our plan is already there. Our salvation is already there, but people are letting it over. People are letting the journey overtake them. So I don't know. I don't think we're really behind, but it definitely seems like you said niggas saying we're at the fart in the windstorm. Is that the vent? I know what happened. I know, right? What happened? Goodness. Catholics created Islam, by the way. Yep. Yep. Found that out. You said who starts a venting session like that? Yeah. How does that happen? Excuse me. I told y'all about my rasp late at night, so it's starting to go out, my voice. Was that it? I don't wanna hop off of here and and you had more to say. Okay, so I should be getting back on track, getting back on social media. I had to be away a little bit, handle some business. But I definitely have some good content to present, just having these conversations, like I said, with these atheists that were going off in the threads. Yes. Yeah, I'm trying to stall Mr. Davis because I'm trying to trying to trying to wait just to make sure. You said, Epiphany, we got about getting you a better PC to help you with the back end. You listen, I know, so we can really bring up content and look at videos and images, because I know I hate to just talk to you guys without receipts. I like to show you. I like to show you what exactly I'm talking about. You saw I hit you up on the page, but you got to hop on. I know. I know it. I've been far, far away. So yeah, I'll be getting some more videos up there as well. Getting some new things going. I do want to start our panel. I just want to get a day where we're not interrupted, so we can have a good discussion. I feel like our days are filling up because we got Sundays, we do this. Saturdays, we've been reading through the Bible. I found a list of the 13 bloodlines, 13 lesser known and 13 known. I think the lesser 13 are Luciferians and the better known are Satanists. These are my thoughts and should be treated as such. Okay. Well, that's something that we got to delve into. We haven't even touched the surface on the 13 bloodlines. We've talked about them here and there. They've popped up, but not a real in-depth study on that, but that's to come. Already on the radar. I was thinking about whether to start it soon. I think it's time that we see if any of their input that they have given over the years is coming to fruition right now. Because I need a better PC. My laptop is slow when I be editing 16-minute ones. You be posting longer hour videos. So I actually used, if you ever heard of KineMaster, I use KineMaster. It's a app on the phone, and that's where all my video editing takes place. So, I can upload clips to there. It's easy to cut and put layers and all kinds of stuff. And the free version is really, really good. I actually pay for it just because I do edit so much and I like the extra features, but the free version is more than sufficient. So yeah, a new laptop would definitely be the business because this one is outdated. You said send me yes, please do. Full list tonight. Brian inspired me now because I'm gonna end every insult I give like, I love you, but these are my thoughts and they should be treated as such. I mean, technically they are. Okay, y'all, I know it's 10:30. It's about that time. People got to get in the bed. People have to get up in the morning. I hope you have a great, great rest of your week. Look out for new content soon. I'm working on it. Yeah. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for being here. Good night, y'all. Bye.